Hey, yo, peace to the gods, peace to the earth. This your man, the King of Truth. King Truth is Allah. Come here on this born day of September. Born, our supreme mathematics means simply what it's known to mean. What it's known to mean. Born is known to mean to bring something into existence, to manifest, to make something real, right? So peace. I want to talk about relationships real quick. And I can't remember if I talked about it. I know I wrote about it on my Instagram in the under the picture, right? But it's this thing. It's this it's this meme that's going around, that I shared, and it's about it's about this it's like a newlywed game show, a newlywed show. If y'all old enough to remember the newlywed show, it was a show where couples, newlyweds, will get asked questions in secret to see if their mate, their newlywed husband and wife, is gonna know the answer that their mate would pick, right? So that's the newlywed. That's the newlywed show, right? So this video, the viral question that I feel that could break up marriages is, the question is, it's for like newlyweds. If somebody walk up to you, if somebody walked up to you as a wife and asked you, and it don't have to be newlyweds, but married people. If somebody walked up to your wife and offer her $10 million, would you take the money? With no strings attached. You ain't got to do it. It's nothing sexual, perverted, just offering you $10 million. And you say, yeah, I'm going to take the money. Then they say, okay. So they say, well, we can sweeten the pot. You could turn down the money and let your husband get $100 million. Which deal would you take? Would you take 10 million that go to you, or would you take 100 million that go to your husband? And so I've been hearing out here, when I put the question out, I ask women say they would take the $10 million. I say, wow, wow, you take $10 million. I say, wow, you not thinking. And they said they would take the $10 million and leave their husband. I say, wow. I say, but, you wanted a mega wedding. You was willing to lay with this man every night, have his children every night. Be his main thing, fight over the dude, threaten to kill women over the dude. But when it's time to be a real woman, be a real queen, be a real wife, you leave. No strings attached. So my thing, you don't see yourself $50 million richer with this man, with your husband that you have married. Like, you don't say, well, if I turn, if the woman wife don't say, well, if I turn, she not thinking, if I turn down the $10 million, I could at least get half of the 100 million. We could split the 100 million and still be happily married. We could live the rest of our life without working. But women would say no. So, and these are black women. I don't know. I can't gauge the loyalty of a white woman, because this question wasn't posed to white women. This question was posed to black women. And I'm like, man, so something is wrong. So men and women that marry, newlywed, been in the relationship for years, need to get on the same page as far as understanding financial freedom and financial responsibility. Something is wrong in a happy marriage. Something is wrong when a woman that's supposed to be a loving wife, has an opportunity to elevate not only herself, but the man she is married to legally. But, most women I asked, their first response was to take the $10 million. So then when you flip the script on the question, and so you ask the man, would you take the 10? So after the man hearing the answer that his wife would take the 10 million and leave the 100 million on the table, and then possibly want to leave, they say, well, don't give our husband 10 million because then they want to leave us. What game is a wife playing? That ain't a good wife. Wow, you would lay with this man, give this man children, do all kind of things to and with this man. Take this man's name. But when it's time to be the wife, the queen, you cut that man out of $100 million. That's ridiculous, man. Black women and black men got to get on the same page. Got to get on the same level. I would be devastated if my wife said, I'm gonna take the 10 million and leave you. Well, I'm not married, but if I was married, I would be devastated if my wife took the 10 million and left. If you want to leave after you get the money, at least get the 100 million and say, nigga, give me half or 20 or 10. I pay you 10 out the 100 million and you can leave. But why cut the man out the money altogether? So then I was listening to something. I forgot who it was. They was talking about how women want to be dominant and they don't want to be slaves. And they want to have, they don't want to be slaves to the man. Like, they say that much money to a man will make them a slave. I say, wow, that's the kind of people you dealing with. That kind of money should bring you closer together, not tear you apart. See, I think that's bad interpretation of religion at work. They say money is the root of all money is the root of all evil. Well, it's actually the love of money is the root of all evil. Is the root of all evil. The love of money is why drug dealers continue to deal drugs, why criminals continue to do crime, that that get money. It is the love of the money is the root of all evil, not money itself, but the love of the money is the root of all evil. So women say, I don't, that's never too much money to have, especially if you're gonna split it. I mean, I would want my wife to think that I'm gonna give him $100 million in his name, but he got to give me half. See, her mind ought to be thinking of the union, the family. And she thought she didn't left the kids, me and my people, probably left her people just for $10 million. That's not a good wife. So if you want to be a good wife, if you want to be a wife, a good woman, a queen, a goddess, a god in your husband's, in your man's life, you gotta be wise enough and know your man enough that you trust him to get 100 million, and then at least give you half. See what I'm saying? So man, that's been weighing on me, man. If I ever get married, I might have to have a conversation with my wife, with my fiance, that listen, don't be no hater. Don't think I'm gonna leave you because I get $100 million. That ain't who I am. I waited a long time to get married, and $100 million is just icing on the cake. So, man, women gotta be careful, man, that they would take the money and walk away. But you want to be married. Wanted to $250,000 million wedding. Ridiculous. Wanted to had to do babies. Take his last name, but when it's time to do something, exceptional, queenly, godly, and say, something that's loyal, something that's trustworthy, and say, well, I'm a let him get the $100 million, and we gonna go, cause this my dude, this my nigga, this my king, this the God, this, and then, but that's ridiculous for any woman to just want to take the money and disappear. And dude is working, y'all got bills, he trying to be debt free, financially free, and you want to take the $10 million and not give a damn about $100 million. That's $100 million is 10% of $1 billion. And I think women just so shallow and self-absorbed to, think of they self and not. That's not a good woman. So any woman should ponder this scenario. And if you feel that, you would take the 10 million after you get married to a man that you say you love in front of the God, the so-called mystery God, your church and family and his family, and you would and want his babies and pregnant and got his last name, and you would put that back down for $10 million so he couldn't get $100 million, or y'all, the couple, couldn't get $100 million. You may want to marry nobody that you wouldn't get the $100 million to, and then trust that your husband will give you half. Y'all put, y'all got 50 million a piece, then y'all at least put 10 or 20 million a piece in a joint checking, and just watch that money grow or something like that. But to not say let my husband get the $100 million, y'all should not marry nobody and have their babies and take their name if y'all ain't willing to do that. So that's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. I know it's been a while. So, I'm out. Peace.